Eric looks nervous.
No, I'm good.
This is like literally like I can.
Is it recording?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
been recording.
Oh, okay.
Bloopers.
I'll snare.
I'll snare, but I used to be able to. So for our first episode of Learning the Ropes, I'm here with my friend Eric, Andrew Taylor, and he's a music producer. So you do drum samples, you sing, you produce your own music with Noelle, his wife. You help other artists get their music out there from your at-home studio.
I have a company that makes drum samples, so we can.
Is it separate
those in
than
here?
your regular company?
Yes.
So you have two companies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So the
You have a drum company.
Yeah, drum samples are called Varsity Sample Co.
Varsity Sample Co. Okay.
Yes. Yep. I just market myself as a producer. I don't market my studio or anything like that. It's just people come to me for services.
Totally. So my hope is that I'll leave here with a nice little intro song. I don't have quite the vision yet, but luckily I'm here with the expert. We'll get into it. So how long have you been producing for?
So I've been producing for 12 years.
Okay.
My first official project was like my own music.
So the drum sampling has been for the past year.
Yes, so that's very new.
Yeah.
I've wanted to do that for a very long time, and I've had people ask me to make samples. And it's kind of hard by yourself. And so I partnered up with a friend of mine, and we just started it.
That's fun.
Yeah,
That's super
which
great.
has been really fun.
Yeah. How much would you say all of this costs altogether? Like the keyboards, all of the sound equipment, the computer.
Yeah.
You know, like if someone was starting from scratch
Yeah.
and they wanted to set up like yours, what would you say ballpark? Lower end if they had like not as good of equipment, and then higher end if they had nicer equipment.
I think my ballpark would be like 90 grand just worth of equipment.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this for 12 years, and I've accumulated a lot of stuff. And I've tried to strategically upgrade things like my monitors or my computer or preamps, microphones. That's kind of the higher end. You can get way beyond that. But for for a professional home studio that's, been accumulating stuff for 12 years, I would say around 90. At the same time, you can have a home studio for like $1,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With like 0 instruments, you're just doing everything on the computer. You have a 2-channel interface and some headphones.
Where would you begin? If I knew nothing, which I don't know anything,
So I would typically ask for a reference.
Oh, okay, great.
Because a reference gives me tempo, like what instrumentation they like. It kind of gets us on the same page so we're not wasting each other's time. And it helps me just know to like where to start running. No, it's not a dig. It's actually kind of cool because we can like actually collaborate in the room.
Great.
A big part of being a producer is sound selection. Okay. My life is just. Like, I like that kick.
Okay. Let's do it.
It feels modern, but it has like a organicness to it, which I like. What I will do is set up a quick sampler, and then I can just drag this in. Okay, and so now it's playable, and so I like starting with drums because I'm a drummer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So like I kind of hear what I'm like, kind of like have an idea in my head of what I want this to sound like. And so I kind of just get the drums going first. A lot of people's favorite producers are drummers, which I'm like, that's cool because I'm a drummer.
Cool. I feel like that should be up front then. You're like, by the way, I'm a drummer and a producer.
Come on now. Yeah, exactly.
The best kind.
Yes.
Little working notebooks.
Oh yeah.
Little notes.
Sorry, that's very loud.
Is this your accountant?
Yeah.
What equipment do you use? So what's the software that you mix everything
software, I use Logic Pro.
in? Logic Pro.
So you buy it once and you own it, and they give you free updates. I would say the two biggest ones are Logic Pro and Avid Pro Tools.
Got it. All right.
I'm going to add some shakers. I think that's going to add some excitement. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, I like that one.
And so you'll hear this. This should be right in time with it. Right?
So what got you started producing music?
I was just having fun doing it. I grew up playing drums. My dad had a really simple, like 8-track recording setup. So like old school kind of tape.
Cool.
I always played the drums. He always played the guitar, and we would just kind of rock out, play Led Zeppelin and stuff. At night, I just had the studio to myself. And so I would just mess around in there, and I was primarily just a drummer. I could play piano a little bit. I started learning guitar, wrote like a handful of songs, and a friend of a friend, he was starting to do some music management, and he was like, hey, I want to represent you. And so he managed me and lent me some gear, and that's how I recorded my first like EP. So after that first album, he was kind of managing me. Then we kind of went our separate ways, but still really good friends. And I self-produced my second EP, which was a much more full band project. That is what sort of got people asking me to produce for them.
Okay.
It was like, hey, you played everything on this and you wrote this. Like, how about you help me? I have some songs I want to record.
Nice. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So you didn't even mean to get into it?
No, and honestly, after it was like my first or second project producing for someone, I was like, I like this way better. So I had like a very humble setup and was actually living on a friend of mine's couch. And,
so classic.
and I was going to college and had like a desk in the living room.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just fell in love with producing, honestly. I was like, I like helping people reach their vision as opposed to just like chasing what I want. I love being collaborative. I love seeing people succeed.
Yeah.
And helping people.
Super fun.
You know, I'm trying to add more of like what I would call like a top line.
It always shocks me how many elements go into this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think of, once again, like me and Noelle at home, bass and drums, and then with Gabrielle, piano. And like we had our 3-element band, and we're like, yeah, this is rocking.
Yeah.
And then you see what it's like to actually produce music behind the scenes. There's like 20 different sounds going on at once that you don't even realize with the ear unless you're like, know what to look for or listen for, I guess.
Yeah, I usually have like over 100 layers. Yeah.
100 layers.
100 tracks. Yeah.
For a song?
Yeah. Because for vocals, you'll have the lead vocal, a double, sometimes quad stacked.
Of the same person. I'll get copyrighted if I actually include this, so.
Yeah.
Right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll flag it. Oh, this is what he's like. This is amazing.
The sound.
Does it ever feel like work for you?
Yeah.
Oh,
It does.
This is work.
ask him about his vocal days.
Yeah.
We'll ask you about the vocal days.
Oh boy.
I've gotten used to hearing my own voice. I'm over it. Right. But this, and I already knew this going into this, but the speed at which I talk
It's very fast.
very fast. I've had to learn to enunciate. And what do you do for work?
I am a paralegal right now
For who?
for the Department of Justice in Oregon.
How much are you allowed to talk about your work?
Not very much.
There you have it, folks. Working for the DOJ of the state of Oregon.
That's hilarious.
And you defend the state.
I defend it and I also prosecute. I do both.
you work
Primarily, we go after.
Cutting out a bunch of this because it's confidential, but
So.
sounds like y'all need a consultant.
Hey, we might.
I left that life behind me. All right, we're going to go through some questions that I have for you just about the music industry, getting into producing, some questions that people might ask if they're trying to get into it, and see what we can teach people.
Yeah, let's do it.
What does some of your day-to-day look like?
A big part of the business is relationships.
Yeah.
And so you're always like talking to somebody, you know, and
Always.
usually it's someone you're friends with, you care about,
Yeah.
you know. And so I'll kind of wake up, respond to texts, respond to emails, and then jump into what is like prioritized. Because I kind of balance several projects at a time. You kind of have to just prioritize your time and figure out like, okay, you know, if this needs to get mixed next week, I need to finish production on it this week.
What's your educational background? And because I know you went to college, you went to grad school as well. So what were those in, and have they helped you with producing music?
I have a master's in speech pathology. And
That's right, okay.
very different than music, but I do think it has helped me a lot, specifically with vocal production. So voice is a big aspect of speech.
Yeah.
And there's voice-specific speech pathologists that specifically work with singers on vocal health and technique, and I feel like I bring a lot of that to every vocal session I do, which is probably 80% of what I learned in grad school I don't bring to music, but
Totally.
that specifically I do. It wasn't until like 2 years after I graduated that I went full-time music.
What's one of your favorite parts about producing music?
Just helping people.
Yeah.
I really love that. I love partnering with people and feeling like I'm part of a team, and it feels like every song I work on, that's the case. Create something from scratch too. That's also like really cool.
What does the community of producers look like? Like, are you connected with other music producers? Is there a place that you kind of all congregate? Are there conventions?
Totally.
Like, are you friends with other producers?
I'm friends with a lot of other producers.
I had a feeling.
A lot of them aren't in person. It's just like connections you make over time on
Mutuals?
Instagram. Yeah, mutuals. You just kind of stay in touch and say, dude, great work on that song. Like, it sounds awesome. Like, we love picking each other's brains too. I feel like it's more collaboration, less competition. Like, there's enough work for everybody. We're just building each other up.
Would you
know.
say that's the approach that most producers have is,
I think most
that you've
successful
met?
producers,
okay.
yeah, have that mentality. It's not a lot of like gatekeeping.
So you've never been to a convention?
I've never been. I want to go. There's a specific one in LA called SyncCon, I believe. It's specifically for sync licensing, which I also do, that's like the music for TV and film. That's specifically for just developing relationships with like library owners or music supervisors who like Love is Blind, like the music supervisor might be there. They might get an email from an independent artist who's like, I think my song would be great for Love is Blind.
Yeah.
And there's a music
Have
supervisor.
you emailed them?
I haven't. Kind of want to.
You might as well try.
Yeah.
Next season's in Denver, I've heard.
Okay. Maybe I need some like rustic music I gotta send them, you know. You don't want to shoot your shot unless you really feel like you have what they actually need.
I think Noelle told me you have a contract or you're part of the library with NBC.
Yeah.
How'd that come about?
So a mutual friend of mine had a connection with a guy who started this kind of agency that basically just submits songs to certain networks. And one of the networks happened to be NBC. We're able to just write custom music for them and submit it, and then they put it in their shows, air it on TV, and we basically just get back-end royalties for that.
So do you make everything custom for NBC shows, or do you add to a library that they can pick from whenever they want?
It's very specific. So they'll say they want a specific genre, specific instrumentation, you know, and we'll just make that for them. My wife and I, we actually make music under the name BASHAM.
Yeah.
And so that's like very wedding-based love song, you know, music.
Mm-hmm.
And that lives on a library where anyone can go there and download it and put it in a YouTube video or a wedding video or whatever.
With NBC, she said you've had like your drums play during NFL games or something.
Yeah, it was wild because usually you get like a statement at the end of the month or the quarter saying like, okay, here's where your music was played. I've seen some really cool placements. So like I've gotten something on Saturday Night Live, which was wild. And I got something on Today Show and just like several big shows that like I know of, and it's like really cool. You always find out afterwards. I don't watch a ton of like network TV either.
I mean, who has cable?
Yeah, exactly.
We don't.
But I was watching an NFL game this past year, and my song came on while we were watching the game. And it was really cool. It was kind of a...
You weren't expecting it?
I was not expecting it, yeah. And I heard it. And of course, I've heard that song 1,000 times, mixing it and producing it.
What was it like bringing your spouse into some of your work? So, you have BASHAM. I've known Noelle since forever. She met you. You guys started making music together, producing it. This is your day-to-day job. What's it like bringing her into some of your life?
It's pretty
producing
great,
music.
Honestly. Having her here and just getting to write songs with someone in person and bounce ideas off of her. Like, she has an incredible ear. I always tell her, I'm like, you could be a producer. Easy.
Yeah.
Because she's like picking out little parts here and there in songs. And I'm like, you got a great ear. So
if you were to start over again, what would you do differently?
I feel like I would be more intentional with like seeking out a mentor. I was really blessed to have kind of the manager take me under his wing when I was an artist early on. After that, I wasn't as proactive as I wish I would have been in seeking like a producer, mixer who I really looked up to, and just saying like, hey, I will do whatever it takes to learn from you. I'll pay you money. Like, I just want to get as much knowledge as I can from you. When I first started, like very first started, I used to charge per hour. I've just decided to just charge upfront per service. So it's like, if you want me to produce a song, here's how much it's going to cost. And there's a deposit involved. And if you want me to mix a song, here's how much it's going to cost.
Did you finance things, or did you kind of self-fund it? Did you take out any loans?
I have, no loans. I know a lot of producers who have a Sweetwater credit card. Sweetwater's where a lot of people get their gear.
Oh.
It's a website.
And they have their own credit card?
Yes. And you can get a Sweetwater credit card, and it's like, I think 24 months, like free financing or whatever. I've never done that. I've just saved up till I have enough to buy something and just get it. And then I don't have to worry about the overhead. That's just those 2 years, I just poured basically everything back into the business.
What direction do you see music going into the next, 2, 5 years? Is there stuff that people haven't picked up on yet that you see music leaning toward?
It was really popular like a decade ago for like stuff to sound kind of 80s. Like The Weeknd. Like very synth poppy, like chorusy. Now it's like leaning more 90s. Certain bands just have this like 90s aesthetic, like Soccer Mom and Joan, and I don't know. And I really like that. But I feel like we're going now towards like early 2000s. Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, like Britney Spears. Like
there's been a big wave of pop.
Yes.
Yep.
So I think that type of production, that kind of clashing with like country. Weird, it's almost like the Lumineers are like, they should be super popular.
They missed their time.
They did.
We got No Con. Yeah, a lot of that country music is coming back though.
Yeah, folky stuff. I feel like there's like a bluegrass movement. Anti-establishment, just like for the people.
Punk rock, please.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, MGK.
Yeah.
Willow Smith. All these people just going like Blink-182 vibes, And honestly, I think with AI, I think live music is just going to be king. Just the human connection and just like the, kind of like we were talking about earlier, like the gifting versus anointing. It's like, that's so just like prevalent when you're at a concert.
What's one piece of advice you would give someone entering the industry? All right, let's say someone comes out of undergrad with their BA in music technology. Okay. What would you tell them?
This might be controversial.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, because I didn't go to school for music.
Right.
But I would say, and I've talked to people who did go to school for music. I had a couple people tell me not to go to school for music. You're going to spend a lot of money, and you're going to come out with a lot of debt and no gear. It doesn't make or break. I always say it's the ears, it's not the gear. Yeah, I didn't mean for that to rhyme. It's more about the person behind the gear as opposed to the gear. But the gear is important. You need microphones to record drums, and ideally you want good drums and good microphones and a good room. You could go to school, learn a lot, come out with a lot of debt, but no gear to do the job. But the plus side is you can learn a lot and you do make connections, and I think That's one of the main benefits of going to school. You come out knowing a lot of people, and like
Right.
you can get hookups at studios to be an intern, and then you can work your way up and then be an assistant and stuff like that. So I didn't go that path.
Yeah.
And I had several people tell me probably not to go that path after they
After
went
they
to
went
school
on that
for it.
path?
Yeah.
All right, last question. What's next?
This year I'm focusing a lot more on production, a little less on mixing, Varsity Sample Co., and kind of an equal focus on sync licensing. So,
And that's with the libraries, with companies.
yes, like NBC, getting placements on different shows. So kind of leaning into that. It's a little bit more of an investment because there's not as much upfront money in sync licensing. It's more residual income, but that's also part of why I want to do that. Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing this with me today, my first episode. I'm really excited to hear the song that will be finished for the intro to this video and videos going forward. And I really appreciate your time, and I hope that your insight has been really refreshing for anyone looking to go into producing.
Yeah, thank you. Nice.
Yay.
Hopefully it's recording.
Noelle, what's it like being married to someone that has his music playing on NBC?
It's pretty incredible. Not gonna lie, it's kind of unreal most of the time.